Hello and welcome to Minecraft. I am here to explain the purpose of the newly introduced blocks called the structure block. I can first of all show you how to get a hold of this device. You need to have cheats activated on your world and type in /give player name structure, use temp to finish off the sentence, there we go, structure block. Here we are. Now, because these blocks are all actually the same kind of block, I'm going to use a texture pack that will separate them and make them a bit easier to recognize. Hang on. John Smith will do. There we are. Now they got letters on them. Much easier to see what's up. So when you put down the texture block, the structure block, it will look like this. And as you activate it, you can cycle through different modes. And like so, it becomes a load block. Let's talk about each of them first. First up is the data block, which is pretty much useless right now. It's not relevant to anything that I'm going to show you from here on out, so be gone with that. The save block is used to save constructs or structures into a folder in your world map, sort of. So for each map you can save a structure and you can move that structure file from your map to other maps and load them up there as well. It's really convenient. The load block is of course what you use to upload the saved structures. So if I take a structure file of a house, I can use the load block to upload that later on. I'll show you more how this works afterwards. The corner block is the one that you use to essentially make the corners of your structures that you're about to save. So let me demonstrate by using this Marge statue over here. I'll start by placing a corner block down here. Make sure it's a corner, as well as somewhere up here. And it's a corner block. Now we need to give the corner blocks a name so they can find each other. We're gonna call them Marge. And that's it. We managed to create this box around Marge. You can't really see it yet. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's put down a save block. We are going to use this block to save Marge as a file. Let's start by typing in Marge and detect. There we go. The save block has successfully managed to find Marge. Now you can see that the structure becomes a bit bigger than it needs to. It doesn't mean much except that the air around Marge becomes part of the file, which is important to keep in mind. Well, we are satisfied with the Marge construct that we currently have, so let's save her. Structure saved as Marge. There we go. Now you can safely remove all of this. Actually, let's go from here. /fill there, let's just get rid of that. Don't need Marge anymore. So Marge is now gone, but because of the save block I still have her available, and to do so I can use the load block. Simply upload Marge. The load block will show you where she will appear. Let's just try. There we go. Well, that worked like a charm. Now, there's the slight issue that she's floating. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's move her one down. That works fine. It also destroyed the load block though. Let's see if we can make several of them. That should be fine. Let's not get too close to the time machine. That's gonna mess it up. Let's see. Load. What if we want her to be facing the other way? That should do it. -1. Load. There we go. We got 2 March. And they are all facing opposite directions, which is awesome. Let's try to load Marge and have her upside down. I don't know how that's gonna... it's not upside down, it's mirrored. Well, that's cute. Can you mirror it the other way? Oh, you can. That's not right. Is it? There's certainly a lot of options available. So that's all fun and good to mess around with. Rotate them in different directions, seems to be working fine. So now we got a whole bunch of marges. Now, what's important to keep in mind is that it's possible to save over your marge file. So I have this file called marge with a capital M. So if I try to use marge like this, it still works, never mind. So capital letters does not matter. But what if, for instance, I build this like dirt thing, let's see, and then I try to save this as marge. Let's see if we can save it as marge. Detect, there we go, it successfully detected the dirt construct. And save. Now the marge save file is gone. Marge is gone. Well, she's technically standing over there, but if I delete those, she's gone. Because whenever I try to load marge from now on, I get a shitty little dirt construct instead. So the key to working with these blocks is just figuring out, or rather grasping the concept of the files and understanding how they work. And that's really all that's about it with the load and the save blocks. That's all there is to them. Now, how can we make cool stuff with those? I have the perfect example, and this is a file I have made myself and saved into my structure files. Let's see, it's called tank. That seems to be working fine. Load it. Alright, so this looks like a sort of hut with some pressure plates on them. As you can see, there are load blocks that all load tank inside here. Now the way this is gonna work is, it's actually better to just show you. It moves. You can move it, I can move in all the directions. I can bulldoze through Marge. Yeah, she's gone. Now some of you probably figured out how I managed to do this already, but for those of you who don't, I will try to explain it in a manner that is comprehensible. Let's see. Inside of here, let me just get a torch to bright things up. We have all these load blocks, which will load tank. And as you know, whenever you load tank, you get this thing, which I shouldn't. There we go. So whenever I press one of these buttons, I load tank. Now the thing about this block here is that it loads the tank in a relative position. Now I'm gonna try to explain exactly what that means. Let's use this one right here. Relative position, let's say -5, and it loaded it up 5 blocks down the line. I can have it be 6 blocks up in the air. There we are. So you can load in this functioning structure with the power to move, with blocks that also are capable of loading in more blocks any way you want. So essentially what I've done is I have made sure this load block right here, the one that makes the tank move in this direction, will spawn in. I can show you the bounding box actually. Let's see. On. Yes, there we go. This button will spawn the tank in this area around. Yeah, I'll just. So, yeah, I guess that's about it really. While this one will make it move over the one direction this way. So you see the whole. It's kind of difficult to explain. So, for instance, if I have which direction does it become? Like 3 here, maybe? No, that's wrong. That's very wrong. 4 and 4. That might do. No, that's also wrong. Damn it. 6 then. There we go. So this is what the regular tank structure would look like. And whenever you press a load button, if I use just a regular load block to load the tank, it will always try to load it in proportion to, like, essentially have the load block beneath this exact corner, and then I need to move it around. So what I've done is I've added -3 to move it a bit down. Allow me to turn off that. There we go. So it moves that one 3 down, which isn't right. It's supposed to be 5 down. Let's see, -5 and -4 maybe. Yeah, that starts to look right. And -4 as well, maybe. Yeah. So whenever I activate this block, the tank will appear within this frame, and there will be like a layer of air around it, because that's the way I built it. That's the way I saved it. And what that does is, I messed around with. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So essentially, this load block will load the tank file just one block in front of itself, and because there is a layer of air behind the tank as well, it will also delete itself as it goes along. I've made an example of something that doesn't exactly delete itself, and that would be the battle slug. With a tank scenario, the border would go roughly like here. But with a battle slug, it goes here. What that means is the tip of the tail doesn't get deleted as it moves. So let's move the battle slug. There we go. There's a nice trail. Perfect. Now, the battle slug is slightly more complicated than the tank. The tank is just a device that can move in any direction and is completely symmetrical, which makes it easy. So I tried to make a creature or something at all that is capable of turning around and moving in different directions. And that's roughly 8 times as much work as making a functioning tank like the block over there. That's because I have to make, if I'm going to have a rotating figure, I'll have to make essentially one build of each rotation and save them. Now I decided to go with 8 rotation. Let me show you. There you go. Rotated it once. And that's an entire save file of its own. Like if I try to load in slug south, then that's the slug south, right? If I try to load in slug southwest. Might as well that. Load. That's an entirely different save file. So I had to make a save file for each of these rotations. Now, naturally, I didn't have to build all of them because it's very easy to, as I showed you earlier, use the blocks to copy a structure and rotate it around 4 times. So I only had to make one diagonal slug and one, what do you call that? Horizontal slug? I don't know. Rotate it 4 times and that way create them faster. But the commands inside were a bit trickier because the command itself, the numbers, they won't rotate. So let me try to explain what that means. Let's start by having a structure. I actually am going to need several structures for this one. We're gonna call this one blue strip. I'm gonna call this one blue strip. Let's save it. Detected that just fine, and save. Then I'm going to have a load block here that will load in blue strip. And it'll load it so it appears up there, right? Now let me save this entire structure. Let's call this one, I don't know, worm. Worm. Let's save worm. Unable to detect it. Ooh, I've done something wrong. Yeah, no, I used a data block. That's not right. Worm. Now it should work. There we go. Save. Now, if I put in the same structure, let me move it down one. Worm. Load. Yep. It will also load in the load block, which will also load in the blue strip. But if I now decide to rotate it, let's say 90 degrees, the numbers in the load block will not add up, and as you can see, it doesn't exactly become the same structure anymore, because the blue strip will also always be facing the same direction. Therefore, the solution to my problem when making the battle slug was to make essentially several green strips where I would, let me just load that back in again. Well, no, that's right. There we go. I would have to make one like this, then make another one. Which is worm, but 90 degrees, load. Then change up the code in this one to rotate 90 degrees. That's right. And now I had to save this file as something else. For instance, I can save it as... it's usually best to use directions. This is west. Worm west. Worm west. And save the whole thing. simply put, I need 2 different files in order to achieve this structure, which is self-loading or includes a block that loads. I have the worm. And I have worm west. What? Oh right, never mind. There we go, that seems more right. Now that should give you an idea of how these blocks function. So the commands inside the blocks, they do not rotate. So if you want to make some sort of device or vehicle, like the battle slug that rotates, you need to make each and every rotation at least once. Well then, let's take this thing for a drive. As you can see, it goes around just fine. Leaves a trail of gravel. And that is because the gravel is part of the slug's save file. Load. Slug north. It's gonna appear there, will it? Well, that's gonna be messy. Rotate it around 90 degrees maybe? Wait, no, that's a horrible idea, because then it won't be slug north anymore, it will be slug east. Slug east, regular. It just doesn't want to cooperate, okay, let's just move it a bit out of the way then. Slug north. There we go. And there goes the gravel. Charming. So essentially what my regular slug build will do is whenever I spawn it 2 layers down. Slug north. And that's gonna kill the other slug a bit. That's fine. Load. Oh yeah, how you can see, it copied the air over and the air broke the other slug. That's fine. Slug is actually self-repairing. So if I move this out of the way, and it'll be back. And oh wow, that's a lot of gravel. Yeah, because it keeps loading in the slug file that is, you know, whole and not broken. So whenever if I push the button, like if I leave dirt here, push the button and the dirt is gone. So that's fun. So yeah, gravel. As you can see, the gravel is beneath here, and whenever the slug drives forth, the gravel will be sort of just left behind. Makes it look like it has sort of scorched the earth where it's gone or something like that. I think it looks neat. And yeah, that's really it. That's the battle slug, and that's the tank, and that's March. Hopefully you have been able to learn something useful from this video. If not, I can try to make another one where I explain a bit simpler. Maybe with some other examples, show some animations maybe. So yeah, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time. Take care.